Winning with XG, Advanced Betfair Trading Strategies. Today I'm going to show you how you can use XG in your Betfair Trading Strategies to make some money, and we're going to go and show you the Betfair Trading Community software, show you how you can use XG in the Betfair Trading Community software to make strategies that will make you money on Betfair. So XG, first of all, you're probably going to want to know, well, what is XG? XG is a metric that is now used in football. It's really popular. It means expected goals. And essentially what it does, I've got it right here, it's a statistical measure that evaluates the quality of scoring chances in football matches. It assigns a probability to each shot based on factors like distance, angle, I mean, I didn't even know that, type of assist and defensive pressure, estimating the likelihood of resulting in a goal. So in theory, XG is a stat that should be a good predictor for how many goals will be scored in a match based on the quality of chances and everything around that. It's basically a statistic, I think, that's very popular because it's so hard to do manually. You could not make this stat yourself. It would need to be done by the computer, and that's why it's such a powerful stat to use in trading when you're looking to gain an edge on the market. Now, well, what is Betfair Trading Community football software? Betfair Trading Community football software is a database of football stats that allows you to create a strategy using XG. Save it and export your selections daily. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you why this is powerful. So let's get on with it. So if we move over here, we're going to go actually over to the stat software itself in Betfair Trading Community. I'm going to show you exactly how to get XG involved. So if you click filter here, and I've made this really big so you should be able to see it. It might not look as big on your screen when you go to betfairtradingcommunity.com and use this software. You're going to want to select, well, either overall, home, or away. And what this means is it's going to tell you, so overall will be both teams combined, home will just be the home team stats, and away will just be the away team. For this, I'm just going to simply use overall, although I do suggest that you try experimenting with each option. The next part is really important. You're going to want to select average as your stat type. The reason is that we use the averages of XG to work out all these stats. And then in the stat selection, well, you've got a couple of options here, and I'm going to show you them. So you have the option of, as you can see here, highlighted XG or XGH1, which means the half 1 XG or the half 2 XG. What this means is that you could create a strategy that looks at the total XG of the whole match or separate it by half. Or you could add all three and you could look at a total that's higher, look for a slightly lower half 1 total and a lower half 2 total if you wish. The point is there's actually quite a lot of options for using XG in our strategies just from these three options here. I'm just going to select XG for now, and then what you need to select is greater than, less than, or equal to. This is where you want to think about what number do you want your XG to be. So this is for the overall match. Now, let's say I'm looking for an over 2.5 goals strategy, because I did an over 2.5 goals video last week. So let's theme that in and tie it into last week's video a bit. Well, I'm going to want an XG that's over 2.5, but maybe I want to clear that margin by a fair bit and say, well, show me the matches where the XG is 3.0 or above. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put greater than or equal to, select that, and then just put 3, okay? And that means that every match that's shown will have an XG that's 3 or above. I'm not going to do any leagues. I'll do a date. I'll just do today because it's the weekend. We should get some selections. All criteria match, last 10 matches. I'm going to restrict to current season, and I'm going to exclude playoffs. Now, you might want to restrict to going in play if you just want to do in-play matches. That's totally up to you. Depends if you're trading it or it's going to be a set and forget. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. Now, I do want to add another stat subject here, and I add this to all my strategies, and it's overall total, and then we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom for matches played. Oh, I've shot up there. There you go. Matches played. Happy days. Get that up there. Just click off that to get out of the way. And as you can see, it's here. And again, we're going to need to select, well, how many matches do we want played? Now, what this does is it means that there will be a minimum amount of games played that season that the data takes into account. Because if the data is just looking at a team that's only played one match this season, well, yeah, that match might have had 3 goals, but that's only one match. That's hardly any data to look at. So I want at least a few matches to be played. I'm going to put greater than or equal to 8, and that will mean that usually they'll have 4 home matches and 4 away matches, which means that the data will be looking at a minimum of 4 matches for this, which gives me a nice decent average. When it's 4 home matches, for the home team, that should be a fairly decent data amount. So as I scroll down here, because I've selected restrict to current season, we know this won't go into last season's games, so they've had to have played at least 8 games this season. What should I call it? I'm going to call it XG, let's just call it XG 1.0, okay? And then I'm going to save that strategy. And as you can see here, straight away, we have a filter that has shown us quite a few matches here where the XG is above 3.0. So we've got 3.98 in this Elversberg-Maderberg game, and you can see 3.44 scrolling down. Now, at the criteria button, it tells you what the criteria is. So you can say, okay, this is the XG figure, and then criteria 2 is matches played. And as you can see, they've all played, over 16 matches this season. Now, the next thing I always like to add to any strategy is an odds filter. So to do that, we just go back to select stat subject, we choose Betfair, and we choose odds. Now remember, the market I'm looking at specifically here, although you can choose any one you like, is over 2.5 goals. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to put, for now I'm just going to put 1.01. And what this does is it will show me all the odds for the matches, and this can be really handy if you have an idea of odds that you want to use. Remember to save the strategy again, and the selections aren't going to change as you've seen here, unless no money's been matched on the market. But we can actually see, and this gives us a really clear picture of the odds. So we can go, okay, some of these odds are quite short for over 2.5. So we might go, well, this might be a match I watch. So for example, this Nuremberg match, I might go, I'm going to watch this game, and then if the XG is high in play, I might get involved. And I'm going to show you in a sec how you can actually do that. Okay, so I've gone over to Bet365 here, and I've clicked the middle button in play, and I've selected one of the matches that was going on. Now, this is a Dutch First Division game between NAC and FC20. Now, what you will notice here is that in these bigger games, Bet365 actually has the XG in play. So you can see here, we're 33 minutes in, scores 2-0. XG for the home team is 0.5, which means they're actually scoring above expectation right now. And away team is 0.19. So we can actually see here that, and I'm just going to scroll you down and you can have a little look at some of the stats. But you can see here how XG is working and the fact that we can actually see the in-play line. Now let's say this was 0-0 and NAC had 1 XG, so not 0.57 but 1. That might be a situation where we go, okay, that interests us. Let's go have a look at the pre-match XG. What was that? Can we link it up? Now, that's something you might want to do with these games that have come up in this filter. Because if you go, well, Nuremberg's stats are really good in play, XG 3.44, let's say over 2.5 goals is at 2.0 because there hasn't been a goal in the first 20 minutes. That might be the situation where you go, that's a moment to enter a trade. Another situation you might have is like this Angers Auxerre game where you go, hang on, the XG here is 3.09. We're expecting 3 goals, but it's actually odds against for over 2.5 goals. Again, you might think that's a value proposition. You might want to do some further research on that. You might want to check the in-play stats. But importantly, it's giving you options. It's giving you thoughts about how you could trade XG. Now, another thing you might want to do, as I mentioned, was add in a different kind of XG. So let's say we replace XG here with XG half 2. Okay? And what that's going to do is that's going to give us the second half XG. And let's have a look for, let's see if we can get any with 2. I don't know, that might be a bit too ambitious. Now to change a stat, you need to click update. Okay, and you can see it's changed here. I'm not going to change the name, but you could save it as a new one. And you can see the Elversberg match still comes up. So this game is telling you XG is 2 in the second half. It's actually 2.21, look, and we can see that here. And over 2.5 goals are 1.6. This means that if we get to half time and it's 0-0, and the XG stats have been quite good, we might think, well, there's a good chance there's going to be a few second half goals here, and that could be a situation we take. Now, you might want to go the other route and go for unders and go, well, I'm actually going to go for low scoring games and look for really low XG. To do that, all you would do is basically change your requirements. So you'd still have the average XG as the same, so this is for half two, but maybe I want to go for them where they're less than or equal to 1. Okay, now again, this might be a bit ambitious, I don't know, but let's click update. And this is essentially now going to find you games that could be good for unders. Now, again, what I would say when you're looking at this, and there's quite a lot here that have a low XG for the second half. Now, what I would say here is to look at, you're not going to want to look at the ones with 0, by the way, because they'll just be leagues where XG is just not available. So, for example, Tottenham Women. Right, not a big, no offense to the women, but not a big enough league for it to be counted for XG. But anything above obviously is. So you can look at, let's say, Leeds Sheffield Wednesday, where 0.89 second half goals are expected, and you could go, well, maybe that might be decent for an unders. Although one I'd look more at is, say, the Leeds Warrington game. But it's important, if you're doing this, if you're looking specifically at the half stats, you're going to be looking at the in-play stats. Make sure that XG lines up. And like I say, you've got an option like Bet365 where, look, we can see that 20's XG stat is now gone up to 0.94, just as I've been talking. So you will see games where the XG stat kind of lines up with what you've seen pre-match. And I've said it before, but if you can line up the pre-match stats with the in-play stats, it's kind of double power, right? But anyway, this is just a really good example of how you can use XG using the Betfair Trading Community software to get these selections. Let's say you want to export this data. All you do is you click this little export button and it will actually save as a CSV file. You'll be able to put that into a spreadsheet very easily. And Bob's your uncle, really. So that's how you can use the power of XG with the Betfair Trading Community software. If you've enjoyed the video, guys, please subscribe, please like, please comment. Give me your opinions. Do you trade XG? Have you done well with it? Have you struggled with it? If this video has helped you, let me know. And if you ever want to get in touch privately, just email me, info@betfairtradingcommunity.com. I will put a link in the description to the site if you want to check us out. I think it's just a great thing to do because, as you can see, it's so easy here. I've saved a strategy. Every day this will give me selections. I can change the strategy. I can even, when I've done a tweak, like you saw me do these tweaks, I can even just change the name and then click Save New, and that will give me a new strategy. So I've still got the old one. So I could have saved 3 or 4 XG strategies here looking for very different things. And it's fairly simple. Right? Nothing I've done today is mega complex. It's just a case of knowing, well, you want to decide whether you want overall, home or away, and then you want to decide whether then you need to choose average so that you get the XG stats available to you. Okay, everyone, have a great week. Most importantly of all, I hope you make some money trading on Betfair.